So I was watching this game and my eye starts to drift off. Next thing I know, I hear this commotion in the infield. I see our first baseman go back, grab a fly ball and come back to first base without throwing the ball away. So I'm thinking, how the hell did he get rid of the ball and still make it back to first base? And then I remember, oh yeah, these are the St. Louis Cardinals. They're known for doing weird stuff like that. But I don't know, man, it just seemed kind of fishy to me. So I decide to stick around and see what else happens. And this guy at the next table over starts talking to me. He says, "Say, buddy, can you tell me who's on first?" I say, "Who's on first?" And he says, "That's the name of the first baseman." Then I heard this other guy at another table shout, "Narcissus is on second." So I turned to the guy who asked me the question. I said, "What's on second?" And he says, "That's the name of the second baseman." And then I heard this other guy shout, "I don't know, is on third." So now I'm really confused. So I look at the guy and I said, "Are you the manager?" And he says, "Yes, I am." And I said, "Then why don't you know the fellows' names?" And he says, "Well, I should, I guess." And then I said, "Well, then who's on first?" And he says, "Yes." I said, "What's the matter with you? Who's on first?" He says, "That's the name of the first baseman." Then I said, Who's on first?" He says, "Yeah." And then I said, "You're not helping me much. Who's on first?" Then he starts to smile, and I said, "What's the matter with you? This is serious." He says, "Oh no. You're not on the team, see? But you sure could be. Yeah, you could be a great asset to us. Say," he says, "do you know any funny names?" I said, "Funny names?" Then he says, "Well, how about you go down to the park and find out if there's any new fellows with strange names. If you find any, bring them right back here. We need them." So I figured, well, maybe I can get a couple of days with the team. Why not? So I started walking towards the park. Now, this guy comes running after me. He says, "Say, where are you going?" I said, "I'm going down to the park." He says, "Why?" I said, "To find some replacements for your team." He says, "We don't need any replacements." I said, "Well, you told me to get some replacements if I found any." He says, "Did I? Well, I guess I did, but we don't need any replacements. Come back here." He walks me back to the table and he introduces me to the shortstop. He says, "This is the shortstop. Shorty," he says, "this is our new catcher." I said, "Your new catcher?" And he says, No. He's not our new catcher. He's today's catcher." And I said, "Today's catcher?" And he says, "Tomorrow's pitching." Then I realized I was in a Twilight Zone episode. Okay, so who's on first? Who is on first? What's on second? I don't know. Is on third? Who is on first?